Welcome to part 2 of our lovely late IHP show with your 5D mystic. And let's continue a little bit on our lovely life, relationships, and the apologies you won't get. 5D mystics know all about the 1-year-old and 2-year-old and 3-year-old. So on that note, while the first part we discussed a number of things, for this one I wanted to focus on when you're a person who understands that not all people see emotions, not all people see thoughts, and so not all people become their emotionally and mentally masters. Okay, so I'm attachment trauma-informed self-help personal development done seriously means a person who understands what reality is. I mean, it seems really odd for me to have to use that word because I didn't think I'd grow up in a world where there are people who are dumb. I'm just going to say it. I also don't think they're dumb. I think there's a lot of places that are qualitative data, and so there's a lot of wiggle room for Wendy's to come around, okay? But a smart person, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, will know that we're all people. So we're all imperfect, we're all flawed. And when you learn from experts like Dr. Daniel Fox about personality disorders, and Dr. Daniel Siegel, Bessel van der Kolk, Peter Levine, when you learn about people who know their shit, you know, yoga don't bring no demons out of anybody. Again, I'm an Akashic record reader and I'm a Reiki master, and I'm also a tarot oracle card reader, and I'm a channeler. And these are all quote unquote no-nos in the institutions and religious organized Christianity that I grew up with, which, I mean, I totally am like, you're the ones not knowing what forgiveness means. You're the ones who are not hearing the same God that I heard. But then again, I'm a person who grew up with secure attachment, and I was given the capacity to be a child completely in all of the facets that it is. And my temperament led me to continue to take ownership of, this is who I am, Maria. My name's Maria. I have thoughts and feelings of my own. I'm a differentiated self, and no, I have no shame button. Okay, so as an adolescent, those 11 to 14 years are the years where I learned how it was true what the grown-ups had shared with us adolescents, which is that they all make horrible decisions. They're all unkind, and unkindness, like evil, it's not about lack of imagination. It all needs good therapy, but it needs the people to want to go to good therapy. They have an entity they call evil, demon, devils, and they blame that. I don't blame, I don't shame. That's for adaptive children. There's no fault. Adaptive child again. There's no revenge. That's just small energy, which is even not, it's even worse. Revenge is even worse than the other ones. You know why? Because in those moments of inner critic, the person's shitting on themselves. So there's no evil the way I got taught it. I told God all about it, and now with my attachment trauma information, I consistently have my lovely communicative. So yeah, if you want to be a flat earther, you can go to the flat earthers. See, this is where, to me, mysticism, that's why I say woo-woo, pseudoscience, bring human, spirituality elements. I respect academia. Academia means something specific for anyone who wants to use the word smart with me. I didn't realize there were that many people that thought of themselves as smart and then didn't actually have consideration of all the subject matters that are out there. Energy is a subject matter with physics, quantum physicists, sciences, people who study neuroscience, neurobiology, neuroanatomy. No, I'm not talking about the one who tell us about all the missing pieces. Those are Wendy's. I can be considered a Wendy. I don't want to be a Wendy, but I can be considered anything. I'm pseudoscience lady. I'm saying I, human being, I'm pretty sure it's not my masters. I've met people with no masters. They know what quantitative versus qualitative, and then they know what social media is. In the absence of making it into something like, oh, they need to be academics. Because no, if you want academics, you know where to find them. They have panels that converse in certain ways. If you are on social media and you're engaging in content, you're going to be a person, depends how old you are, but let me just say, if you're a person who wants to say smart to me, then you're going to know how to discern without needing to be told it. I see the tarot readers, discern. I taught my child how to discern, but they're all believing in conspiracies. Okay. So that's a side note. The apologies you won't get. When people are not emotionally or mentally aware of anything and they don't want to be, you are not going to have what is an actual conversation. Relationships are beautiful because of the depth of authenticity and the depth of emotions that we bring to each other. And there's plenty of beautiful emotional and mental planes. So yeah, that's why with twin flames, soulmates, the oversoul, you see my face? Yeah. Any person who's learning something from their oversoul is going to notice how many of the people don't move into awareness. So we're going to leave it alone, because to be aware means that you take accountability for your emotional plane, your behavior, and you get out of shame, which means you actually face your inner child and you say, yep, there's no story. There's an embodied brain. There's attachment, and trauma researchers, they share what it is. And the capacity to say to yourself, things take place. Mistakes happen. And we're all flawed and imperfect, which is why, to this day, hearing that people don't understand that a person's not their greatest mistake makes me think of so many people. It's not the masses. I'm just like, are you in the Middle Ages with pitchforks? Because if there's one thing, especially in the countries where I grew up, so between Italy and US, you want to talk about other countries, and yet I saw a couple more docu-series where people are standing outside of a prison with pitchforks and fire, wanting the death of a human being, talking about Jesus, and yet you're all standing around like a crowd who's basically talking about another person as evil. What are you doing? See, because the energy of evil is all the same. It's shame, blame, fault, revenge. It's all the sympathetic. It's all the modulated, embodied self. It's all disease. It's all stress, distress. Anyone who's in their sympathetic is going to be in that boat. Is going to be in a boat of unpredictable, volatile, reactive. You're not going to apologize to anyone. You're going to get into your angry circuit. You're going to be a person like a squirrel from Cusco land on your recovery journey. This is what separation of consciousness are. People who actually have the capacity to make up shit out of their mouth for any person who's done any wrong that they don't like, versus understand we're all people. And again, I do personal development. I don't do the social stuff. That actually, I'm going to leave it alone, because this is one of those soft spots. I have political science as my bachelor's, and I have a master's in international relations and diplomacy. Yes, I know how they play to crowd. I know how people play to crowd, and I know how people fall for a crowd. And basically, I know the masses, and nobody's stupid, but their inner child, well, let me share with you what an inner child that has no owner does. How dare you question my subject matter expert? How dare you take off of a pedestal the very person that I deem? And they're mesmerized. That's what a human being in the absence of emotional mental intelligence does. When, on the other hand, you realize, no matter how many titles you present in my face, you don't know everything. I'm a 3-year-old with confidence. It's called, sure, keep talking. This is one of the reasons why whenever somebody doesn't like me, it doesn't happen often, but I know that stare, and I'm like, well, I don't really care. I got a mom who let me be myself, and she taught me how I get the right to be Maria. And like a 3-year-old, I didn't know that I was supposed to believe in you, but I'm not a flat earther, so I do believe in the data people. I know who they are. I don't fall for Wendy's or Peter Pan's for that matter, and intelligence. It's called my emotions and thoughts. They're not facts, so nobody owes me an apology. I don't owe anyone apologies, but if we're really going to do something called, let's talk from the heart, shall we, about how we can behave in a functional adult love language way. Come on over for 5D relationships. They're really fun, unlike the toxic codependent ones that don't learn any of being an independent thinker and lover. And it's really nice. Polyamory, monoamory, come on over. Mystics and not. join us